Alright, so if you've been following this series recently, welcome back. You're in the 4th video of the entire series. If this is your first time, give you a heads up. We have 3 other videos prior to this, really showcasing Fort Collins and all the best neighborhoods to live in.
Yeah, and today, I'm not gonna lie, I am so excited about today because we are gonna be over in West Fort Collins, which, let me just tell you, is probably the most beautiful part of Fort Collins,
definitely
in
my favorite,
opinion.
I would say. Oh yeah.
And we are gonna cover some beautiful neighborhoods, but we're gonna kind of try to narrow it down for you, because there's so many amazing neighborhoods over here. But we're gonna talk about 3 today.
All right, let's go. Alright, welcome back to the channel, you guys. You're watching Living in Denver with your Colorado real estate family, Pete and Chelsea Sweeney. And I mean, we love bringing this material, right? We're doing this great series, really showcasing all the best neighborhoods around Fort Collins. But even more, we love helping you with your real estate needs, right? We really want to bring you as much material as possible so you make a decision and then we get to help you with that move.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel. Also, give us a thumbs up. It's getting pretty crisp out here, and we're going to start getting into the colder months.
Yeah.
So give us a thumbs up. We are coming out here for you guys. Fall is my favorite, but we're getting into winter, and it's freaking cold out here.
Yeah,
so
and I didn't
give
bring,
us a thumbs up.
I didn't bring a jacket, which was stupid. I'm trying to be like Patrick Swayze out here with my freaking shirt unbuckled a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh my gosh, give us some love, give us a thumbs up, and then if you're interested in following us in the series, hit subscribe now. We're actually in the 4th week of a 5-week series, so you definitely want to follow along. Hit that subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll get notified every single time a new video gets released.
Alright, so let's check out these neighborhoods from the sky's view. Be right back. Alright, so before we really dive into our first neighborhood, I'm going to do some kind of fun here because it's the week of Thanksgiving, right? And so if you could, I love Thanksgiving personally, like so much so where I'm like hearing the Christmas music, I'm like, why are we forgetting about Thanksgiving? This is a time to be grateful with our families, share the love and all that stuff. So I'm going to play something fun here, and in the comments below, why don't you tell me what you're thankful for this year, because it's great always kind of sharing those different comments and stuff, you know, and I just, it's something I love to do, so.
We do it every year around the table, and Thanksgiving is something that we host, so it's kind of near and dear to our hearts. Okay, so real quick, we are going to go to our first neighborhood. We're going to be over at the Ponds at Overland Trail. This neighborhood is super awesome. Can't wait to drive you around. But just to give you an idea of where we are just west of South Overland Trail and Prospect Road, about northwest of Prospect Road. So right at the base of Horsetooth, right on the other side. And let's just say this is a really pretty neighborhood. I can't wait to drive through.
So it's like all the other neighborhoods that we've covered have really been in the flat area of Fort Collins. This neighborhood is literally nestled in the foothills. So much so I'm going to pick this camera up. I don't know what this is going to look like, but I'm just going to kind of show you. I mean, look at this hill right behind me right here. Where's Chelsea?
I'm over here.
I'm not just getting your head. Yeah, I mean, like I just look at this, guys. It's just like, in this neighborhood is really known for all the open space that you have, all the open space trails. As we're recording here, we've literally had so many people coming in and just like hiking these little open space trails, which has been freaking awesome for sure. But this is my kind of living. Like if I'm gonna live in Fort Collins, I want to be in the foothills. It's beautiful here. I mean, for sure. Yeah.
Let's go check it out.
Yeah, let's go. So let's hop in the car and we'll drive around.
Okay, so we are going to be driving through this neighborhood, and let me tell you, this is where it's at. I mean, West Fort Collins is absolutely beautiful because it's super close to the mountains, and we're actually only an 8-minute drive, even though we're literally looking at the foothill that on the other side is Horsetooth. It really is only an 8-minute drive to get around the mountain actually over to the lake. So absolutely awesome location here. And this neighborhood, just like Peter had said, it's kind of known for its open space, right? I mean, it had 73 acres of open space with like native grass and walking trails. Some of the walking trails tying directly into the foothills right here, and it's just stunning, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. These houses are freaking gorgeous.
Pretty houses.
Of course, like with pretty much everywhere else that we've shown, every other neighborhood, every other town, city that we talked about, the higher you get up, the more expensive your house is, right?
Yes.
Because these ones, towards the lower portion, you have more of your suburbia, where we'll get some B-roll of this, but these houses up here, I mean, they're getting the mills, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something to really look at. These houses up here also looks like they're newer as well, too. The houses, like I said, late 90s, early 2000s is kind of what you're looking at in regards to some of these houses. Some of these more expensive houses up on top of this hill might be a little bit newer just because they look like they're a little bit more custom built. But let's go ahead and break into the price point. What are we looking at for your medium home value in this neighborhood? $625. That $1 million price point is really driving that price point up, because I was kind of researching a little bit, what's kind of sold in these last couple months. You could easily get something here in the 500s. So really good to know that you can still get something in the 500s, but like I said, that $1 million price point is definitely still driving it up.
Yeah, lots of, so what do the houses look like?
Wow, these houses are
Lots of stone, still some siding, but lots of beautiful stone, and none of them really look the same. We see brick, you see stone, definitely not cookie cutter type of neighborhood. Absolutely stunning, like very wide houses and big lots, super big lots, backing up to the foothills.
Like lots are like,
they're pretty
huge.
big.
Yeah,
pretty big. And they have, the same style of like the non-6 foot fence. They're like the, what do you call those?
Well, some of them don't even have fences in between, but they have like the cattle, like ranch style fence, where's the 3 boards going across. But like some of these houses don't, there's like, I think they just want to take in the open space. Like, who cares, right? And so there's like, some of these don't have any fences in between the houses. Like this one over here has a 6 foot.
That's weird. Just to separate from the neighborhood, or from the neighbor, but that was about it. That was the only fence they had. Definitely gonna see some wildlife up in this neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Coming from the mountains. So real quick too, when we were driving into this neighborhood, there was an A on the mountain, the foothill, and I'll be on. Oh my God, that house is so pretty.
Yeah.
I'll be on. It's kind of colonial style looking with those pillars. I did not know what that A was, so I looked it up for us to kind of say, like, what is that? I didn't think it tied into the college up here. So I looked it up, and it said that there's an A. It stands for Aggies, because when Colorado State University was founded in 1870, it was originally called Colorado Agricultural College, and the mascot at the time was the Aggies. So that's kind of interesting. We were like looking at it, we're like, what is that? Yeah, guys, this is a kind of place that Peter and I like to go and look at houses, because we're just nerds like that. And this is definitely one of those neighborhoods that has just very unique, gorgeous houses. Okay, so if you're interested in the schools for this neighborhood, you're going to have, let's see here, you're going to have Bennett Elementary School, Blevins Middle School, and Rocky Mountain High School. So those are going to be the high schools for this neighborhood. Peter and I are now driving just in, kind of away from the $1 million homes and starting to go just a tiny bit. And again, these are all really nice and close to each other.
Yeah.
And it's really clean. Isn't it a clean neighborhood?
It's super clean. And one thing that's like kind of one of our pet peeves is people parking on the street, right?
Yes.
There's literally like barely any cars whatsoever on the street. You don't have the guy with the broken down car that's sitting on jacks in the middle of the street and stuff, and it's just super clean neighborhood. You can tell everyone really appreciates their yard. They have that pride in home ownership, which is awesome.
So even these houses that I bet are in a lower price point are still very, very nice houses.
Very nice, yeah. Definitely.
And it looks like they all have because like even the neighborhoods or the houses that are not backed up to the foothills, they still have a really nice green belt behind the houses with some kind of newer trees. You could tell they're a little bit newer because they're a little on the smaller end, but still lots and lots of grass areas in between the houses to make it feel very spread out.
One other thing that I forgot to mention when I was going over to the real estate is there is an HOA in this community, and you're looking at right now it's at $420 a year, and I mean, like I said, HOAs always can change depending on the expenses of the landscaping company and such, but it looks like that only covers your common area maintenance, so something to kind of keep in mind. So $420 a year, it's not bad at all by any means.
So now we're in a little bit of the older part of this neighborhood, and you're going to start seeing a little bit smaller lots. You're going to see more traditional style 6-foot fences, but still super clean, really pretty houses.
Yep.
So definitely a cool neighborhood. It's going to be hard to top this right next to Horsetooth. So let's go check out the other two.
All right, let's go.
Okay, we are onto our second neighborhood, and we just entered in, and it is over here at Poudre Overlook. And just let me give you an idea of where we are. So we are just north of the last neighborhood that we were at, and a little bit east. So North Overland Trail, and I would say about north of West Vine. So that's kind of where we're at. So we're at the if you were to go directly west, we're at the very tip top of Horsetooth Reservoir, and really only about 12 minutes away now. So just a slight difference. The foothills aren't right here. There's actually other neighborhoods that are closer to the foothills, but we could still see the foothills like right.
Oh they're really just right there.
Yeah, but there's other neighborhoods between, whereas the other neighborhood was right on the foothills. So that's just kind of the main difference. I mean, what would you say? I would say this neighborhood is a little bit more cookie cutter.
It is, for sure. It's definitely more cookie cutter. It's a little bit larger, it looks like, as well, too, when we were kind of looking at it from the satellite view. But yeah, you definitely have a lot more of your, this house and then 3 houses down, you have the same model.
Yeah.
One thing I'm really noticing, ton of 3-car garages. That one has a 4-car garage. And I mean, for all my guys out there, if you're into large garages like I am, I would love that. There's these.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing. Or
these, I think every single house. Oh no, that one might be a 2-car. But pretty much like 90% of the houses in here have 3-car garages. There's some that are 4-car garages. There's one 2-car. Very few 2-car garages though, which is, I mean, like I said, huge. That's awesome. But yeah.
So yeah, real quick, this neighborhood is really good for a little bit of 2 different things. So obviously a quick jump over to the mountains, but also they say that it's a lot of bikers will take Poudre River Trail over to Old Town. So that's kind of cool. Being a little further north like this, you're pretty close to Old Town going directly east. And so, those are kind of cool.
Yeah.
So definitely, get a little bit of best of both worlds, being a little further north, having the mountains and a quick, drive over to Old Town, or even biking, depending on what you like.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this in many other Fort Collins videos, is how big of a biking community Fort Collins is.
Yeah.
And that's probably a huge driver as to why this neighborhood, you had that, you said Poudre Valley Trail and all that going into Fort Collins, but I wouldn't doubt it if a lot of people that are here, I mean, they probably bike to downtown quite a bit. You know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Look, there's the trail right there.
Is that this is the river, isn't it?
So it's Overland, right? It's over here. I have to look it up for you guys, but it is Overland. So here we go. Located where the Poudre River runs under Overland Trail. So that's exactly what that is right here, and it goes right by the neighborhood. And there's a lot of people out with their dogs right now walking, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Fort Collins as a whole is a pretty active community, and so we do see, even with it being, we're like tiptoeing in here to winter time, and so it's pretty chilly. What's the temperature out right now?
It's 50 degrees out there.
50 degrees. God, it feels a lot colder.
Well, when we first started recording, this was 44.
Okay. Anyway, so it's a little cold right now, and you're still seeing a ton of people out, like just to kind of show you, how active Fort Collins really is. Okay, let's get into some price points.
Yeah, so price points. So weird thing about this neighborhood, it actually has a higher estimated home value than the last neighborhood. This estimated home value is $707, and I think a big reason for that is because you have more of those mid-range housing. Where at our last neighborhood, you had probably like a block of $1 million housing. On the lower side of the hill, you had kind of like your lower price points, and they had the middle price point. So you had like a selection of all those. Those all came together, and that's what brought that $625. The 707, these are all very similar in the same price points, where you don't have too many that are varying too much. I did see a few ranches that went for a little bit cheaper, in the high fours, but for the most part, it's pretty, 707. That's pretty good value in regards to these homes.
There's not that many ranch houses in here, to be honest. It's typically more these 2-story kind of traditional home.
And the year on them is like in the mid 2000s. So
they're a little newer.
A lot of them are like in the 2004, 2005 era type thing, and that's what kind of this style was, right? Where you have a wider house, you have a stone in the front that goes about halfway, sometimes 3/4 way up. That was just a huge style in the early 2000s. So this definitely replicates that for sure.
A lot of rich colors in here that are a little different, but good, like nice, like little accent, like almost like accent colors. So just kind of give you an idea of what they're looking like. But yeah, lots of siding and then halfway up stone and or brick. And yes, they all have they have the windows on the garages, and they're all the same.
The windows on the garage are kind of funky to me.
A little weird, yeah.
It's like a lot of these, like some of them will have the windows go all the way across, but there's like 4, and then on the one car there's 2.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing. It's like a thing weird. They tried to do.
Yeah.
But overall houses are very pretty.
Well, another thing about this neighborhood though that's amazing, and I actually had to double and triple check this: no HOA. So you don't have an HOA. The fact that these neighbors take this much care of their yards without having an HOA yell at them for certain things, it's pretty remarkable. That is some true.
I just can't believe it doesn't have an HOA. It's crazy.
Yeah, it blows my mind. But honestly, kind of looking at it, there isn't much community space, shared community space in this neighborhood. I'm not seeing a park anywhere.
I did see this open space over here, but that's not to say that doesn't belong. That's open outside of the
Exactly, yeah.
It kind of goes to the trail, so I'm assuming it might be more of a drainage thing, maybe. Not a lot. The last neighborhood we were in had a ton of open space around it. This one doesn't have as much at all.
But the yards are huge.
But and the lots are pretty big.
Yeah, the lots are like pretty good size, which is awesome.
But most of them have the 6-foot fence. Oh, that's a cool house.
Yeah.
Most of them have the 6-foot fence, traditional kind of newer style neighborhood, and still very, very well taken care of. If you're interested in the schools over here, it's going to be Irish Elementary School, Cachelet Poudre, and Lincoln Middle School, and Poudre High School. So that's the school system for this neighborhood.
That's crazy. Just like this short drive that it's
all
different from the other.
Yeah.
Because we're literally
it was 8 minutes.
An 8-minute drive.
Yeah, 8 minutes from the last one, just directly north.
Yeah, that it went change schools, just that short little drive is awesome. So
seeing lots of solar panels in here.
Yeah.
Really nice neighborhood. There's like a couple little stragglers that are like a custom. Those are some custom homes that does not look like it belongs to this neighborhood, but you can still access it. That's interesting. Anyways, this really nice neighborhood, best of both worlds. Still get the tip top of Horsetooth, which I think is where, if I remember right, you can access. There's a boat ramp right at the top at Horsetooth, so super nice access. And then also just pretty much straight west of Old Town, so definitely a pretty ideal location, and that's probably why you'll start seeing some increases, because you get a little bit of everything. So yeah, really awesome. Let's get over to the third and final neighborhood of the day.
All right, on to the third one.
Okay, so this neighborhood is Brown Farm, and unlike the first two that we covered, the reason we wanted to add this neighborhood, see, look at that's a pretty house. The reason we wanted to add this neighborhood in is because this is a really nice neighborhood for maybe a first-time home buyer. So a lot lower of a price point. How old are these homes?
So these ones were built in the 70s and the 80s. The 70s, like further east you go in this neighborhood is the 70s, and then the closer you go into the foothills, more west, that's more your 80s style home.
Yeah, so if you're looking to move up here and have a more affordable home, a little bit of an older home, no HOA, right?
No HOA.
No HOA.
Yep.
And so, you know, you will see some campers and things, which is great. I mean, everybody up here is super outdoorsy, like we talk about all the time. So you don't have to worry about storage or anything like that. And you can definitely tell that this is a really nice neighborhood to pick up a more affordable home and kind of maybe make it the way you want it. And
is this that park?
Yeah, so the other thing it's really known for is it has a 7.25 acre park called Blevins Park.
Blevins Park, there
and
you go.
it's honestly, it's really well known because it has playground, picnic areas, 2 sports fields, restroom facilities, so a really nice place to host any events, you know, especially if you have little kiddos. I love hosting our little kiddo birthday parties in the park. So yeah, definitely a really nice park for this community. This community is actually pretty big, and even for it being older, is pretty well kept for the most part. There was a one part of the neighborhood that was a little bit older that you could just have a little bit older feel, but some of this newer part of the neighborhood is still really well kept, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. It's still I mean, like, you're going to see a lot of that in Fort Collins in general.
Yeah.
People there's something about Fort Collins where they love taking care of their yards, they love taking care of their houses, and so you're not going to see too much that tattered down, just this eyesore of a neighborhood that you see maybe closer to Denver.
Yeah. Yep. Lots of mature trees in this neighborhood since it is an older neighborhood, so that's really nice. And it kind of looks like this street was just redone. So real quick, just to give you an idea of where we are, since I didn't tell you in the beginning, is we are still we've been kind of following you along the South Overland Trail all the way up to North Overland Trail. So we're still off of Overland, but we're in between Drake and Prospect. And it's a pretty decent sized neighborhood, and a lot of different options to choose from as far as what the houses look like.
Oh yeah. There's
no new build cookie cut.
I mean, think about that. The difference between your houses that were built in the 70s and the 80s. There was definitely a big difference in between those 2 decades. So yeah, you could definitely tell these were all 70s style houses. And then like on the west side over here is definitely 80s style. So what are we looking at with price points? So this is gonna be so it's skewed out there because, like I said, since you have the houses built in the 70s and the 80s, most of your houses in here are going to be like 2,000 less in square feet. You know, you're looking at probably your 3-bed, 2-bath. You're looking at a $445 price point, so definitely way lower than the other neighborhoods that we covered. But like I said, if you're looking to be like a first-time home buyer, or say you even just don't want to spend that much money on a house, this would be a great neighborhood for you for sure.
Yeah, and so we're passing kind of on the edge right now, going right back in, but there is a little child care center right here on the east side.
Just went to the wrong neighborhood.
The east side of the neighborhood, and that's kind of nice. And we're definitely seeing a little bit more kiddos out.
Oh yeah.
Little younger kids, again, we're going back into a much more affordable house at this point, and we do see houses being repainted and changed on the outside, so I'm assuming people picking up a house that's more affordable and kind of making it their own. And Peter and I did that. One of our first houses, we were like, let's get
Our first house was built in, which one? Oh, I guess I mean 50s or whatever.
I was talking about
You're
the
talking about the
Thornton
one in
house.
Thornton.
Yeah.
That one was built in the 80s.
But same thing, we picked up a more affordable house that was still awesome, and we were able to make it our own, and that is really special, especially being a first-time home buyer, of being able to kind of leverage your money and, you know, get a more affordable house and just have those projects. And so definitely, oh look at that's a cool little, there's definitely some restaurants over here too, on the southwest side of the neighborhood. You start getting in, I'm sorry, southeast, you're correct.
Yep.
Southeast side of the neighborhood, you start to see some restaurants and stuff, so definitely within walking distance if you're kind of towards that side of the neighborhood. Okay, so real quick, did you talk about pricing?
I already did, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
so let's talk about, if you're interested in the schools, you have Olander and Botter Elementary School, hopefully I didn't just butcher that, Blevins Middle School, so the same middle school,
middle
and
school
Rocky
as,
Mountain High School.
So same middle school and high school
Over
as
the ponds, at Overland Trail. So where we are in comparison to the ponds at Overland Trail, we are just a few blocks south and then just east of that. So we kind of went up and then back down. But again, this neighborhood is a really nice neighborhood for either first-time home buyer, or if you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a house and you would rather spend your money elsewhere, like this has some really nice homes and options.
I can see some investors too, like being an investor coming in here, you know, maybe trying to purchase a full-time rental. This might be a great neighborhood because it's so close to Horsetooth, so you might be able to come in and get a little bit higher rent because you do have all the amenities close by.
Yeah, because we're so close to the ponds, we're actually still only 9 minutes away from Horsetooth. So to be able to get this low of a house price point and still be that close to the lake is kind of a bonus.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it really just depends on what kind of lifestyle you want to live. A lot of people, they don't want to spend a lot of money on their house, and they don't, you know, they're the whole like house poor thing. Yeah. And then there's other people like us. I love spending a lot of money on our house. And so, yeah, this is a really nice option, and we're just right down the street from the other neighborhood that's $1 million homes. So.
Yep. All right, cool guys. Well, that completes our West version of our series. So we got one left, and so keep on watching. Like I said, we love having you here. Of course, like I said, if you have any questions in regards to purchasing real estate, more than happy to answer those texts and calls. We're gonna put the phone number in right below. I'm probably gonna have to go way up here because we're gonna go way down here. But yeah, like I said, more than happy to answer any questions or concerns that you might have in regards to this neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thanks for joining us. If there's other neighborhoods you want us to cover, please let us know. We can always reach out and get specifics for you. But it's hard to cover all the neighborhoods that Fort Collins has to offer. So hopefully we provided some good options depending on what you're looking for. So until next time.
All right, we love you.
Bye.
Watching, you're in the third. Wait, the third? No, the fifth. No, was it fourth?
Fourth.
1, 2, 3, fourth.
Okay, start.
Same time, looking to purchase real estate in the Colorado area. We're your Chelsea Sweeney, and man, we have been loving bringing you guys